Hello, everyone. This is Krista Janik, Wise Words That Matter. I work with businesses and nonprofits to get noticed, and because I'm a copywriter and a public relations professional. So today we're going to be talking about freshening up the everyday. So I would love to start this by talking about what do you find in your work that's every day to you? What do you find that you do all the time? Maybe you even get tired of explaining it. Something like that. I would love to see people's feedback on that, on what you find to be every day. So this idea came to me because I was working with I was doing a Facebook Live challenge. I was sharing my experiences in a Facebook group, and a woman in the group started asking me questions about how my software works. How do you read comments, she was asking. People asked me, how do I type? How do I use a touch screen? And all of these questions, I get them so often that they feel sort of humdrum in every day, even though to a lot of people, they're actually very interesting. So it made me start thinking about what is it that I would do if it were a client and I had to describe these things to the client's audience. And my answer was, I would actually try to think about the first time that I used a product. So I would try to imagine myself using a product, using a service, doing whatever it is that seems humdrum and every day, but for the first time. So it's all about putting myself into that mindset of discovery, or if I can't imagine myself doing it, to try to imagine another person doing it. So, for example, when I first learned to type, I had a teacher who put boxes over the keys for everyone in the class so that they couldn't see their fingers, so that they had to memorize and learn how to touch type. And that's a fun little story to tell people, to say that you can really learn to type without looking at the screen. It is possible. It isn't amazing per se, but it's fun and interesting, or rather it's not so fun while you're trying to learn to do it. But the result of it can change lives, because over time you get really fast, you get to work quickly, you're open to all kinds of jobs. And how exciting it is, how great it is that elementary school students learn to type at such an early age, especially today. So this teacher, her name was Mrs. Naughky, and some of the kids in the school called her Knock the Hawk, because she would walk around and try and catch people trying to look at their keyboard instead of looking at the screen. And the other interesting thing is, too, you don't necessarily have to look at the screen. So that's sort of a little story of discovery in that sense. And I have a story of discovery that I think about as I was learning gestures. I started off pretty clueless learning the touchscreen, and I didn't know, how the heck do blind people do touchscreens? I didn't have a clue. But what I realized was that all of these different gestures, so let me see if I can get, okay, so that, like, this is my phone here. And so I can use different gestures in order to do different things on the screen. So I can, if I just tap with one finger, I'm going to read what's underneath my finger. Or if I swipe left to right, it'll go back and forth, left to right or right to left. It'll move the cursor or the focus. So if I want the waving hand icon, I can wave, for example, like that. So that's sort of a way to show people how it works. I hope you were able to see that. And certainly if you need me to adjust the camera or to do something again, I'd be happy to do that. But so I learned as I went on with this, I learned the screen layouts, because when I touch underneath my finger, I started to learn how to do that. And I learned how to avoid certain typos that I've made before. So for example, for a while when I was a kid, I would accidentally not capitalize the first letter of a sentence. And when I realized that I was doing this over and over again, I made a point of hesitating and typing the shift key and just kind of having my finger down on it for a second or even half a second, just to make sure that that shift key is being pressed. So it's little things like that shows how I learned from mistakes, I learned from new experiences, and it opens up a whole world. Technology opens up a whole world. So in the same way, I can talk about something that sounds really humdrum, like backing up your data. Well, if you back up your data, you can now feel safe about what's going to happen. You're not going to lose your sensitive customer information. And the first time you learn about backing up your data and what it means, it might be a relief. Oh, I can back it up. It's easy to do. I use this automated process or that software, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. Or it might be a little bit of a tricky process. And oh, well, I can ask my IT professional. They can do it for me, and they can take that burden away. So do you see what I mean about taking experiences, ordinary experiences, and looking back at the first time that somebody uses them? You want to look at how these experiences change people's lives. So going back to my blindness examples, the mobile phones, they allow me to do something from anywhere. They allow me to work from anywhere, play from anywhere. And the apps tend to be a lot simpler than the web interfaces. They have fewer buttons, they're easier to manage. So that's kind of how it works. So I would love to hear all of you give me a little comment about something that you've found to be humdrum and everyday that you find yourself needing to explain. And I'd love to work on that a little bit. So I have a webinar coming up, which is Get Noticed Now, and it's all about increasing visibility online and in the media. It's all about avoiding making mistakes by learning from other people's mistakes. You don't have to be the one to discover everything. You can learn from other people. You can do interactive exercises. So I'm typing that into the comments now on my phone, and you'll be able to sign up for that. So thanks everyone. Glad to have you here, and I hope you have a great day.